All right, guys, today we're going to go over the concept of jumping smaller jumps, learning to jump smaller jumps. With these jumps, they're basically tables with a little bit of a divot in the middle. And we're just going to go over some strategies on approaching these smaller 5-foot long, low and mellow tables when you're first getting into jumping mountain bikes, especially full suspension mountain bikes. So initially, most people jumping these jumps are just going to roll through them, which is the nice thing about tabletops. You can just casually roll over them and get the feel for the trail itself. But then once you start picking up speed and jumping and maybe doing your small jumps, you'll get to a point that's pretty uncomfortable as far as how far you're going and how much you're casing. So I'm going to try to give a little tip on how we can try to alleviate some of that fear and increase the speed without increasing the actual height and jumping you're doing. We're going to try to learn something like manualing, pumping in the manuals. So for this, we're going to go moderate speed, kind of trail speed. And most importantly, we're going to try to set a rebound at a middling rebound. We can leave a little bit to help with the pop in the manual, but ultimately we're going to be manualing, which is squashing the rear down, trying to keep it on the ground, and lifting the rear up. And we're going to sort of imitate the concept of the front wheel jumping while the back wheel stays in touch. So let's change our rebound, get on the bike, and see how that feels on these jumps. Now that we've felt out the jumps by just riding over them normally and trying to do a manual between them, a bit like you would do on a pump track, what we're going to do is we're going to move towards jumping it, but particularly with full suspension bikes, we're going to slow the rebound all the way down. You don't have to go all the way, but for me personally, when I'm helping people jump, just for safety, leave it all the way down. You can still do your compression. All that's going to happen is you're not going to get that rebound, that kickback, that pop that is very difficult for beginners to handle. So we're going to turn the rebound all the way down. We're going to go full trail speed, let the trail kind of dictate that speed. It'd be the natural speed for this, and see how that feels going through with a lot of speed. So you're definitely going to get the distance, but hopefully with the rebound, you're not going to pop over too high, start overshooting, going over the bars, etc. Now that we're getting a feel for the entire jump, having cleared it, we're gonna try to advance the technique a bit, and we're gonna turn the rebound up. Most times I would say if you're gonna turn it up, just turn it up to the middle, but for this example, to exaggerate it, I'm gonna turn my rebound all the way up. These are downhill jumps. I'm not super comfortable doing that, so what are we gonna do? We're just gonna take off a bunch of that speed, 10%, 25%. I'm not concerned about casing the jumps with high rebound. My whole concern, not going too fast and not hitting the lip wrong, because that's what happens. People run fast rebound, they hit the lip real fast. The rebound hits while they're still tracking on the ground with their rear wheel, and that's when you start going forwards over the bars. Momentum of the wheel takes over from there. So we're gonna compensate every time we make changes to the bike. Faster rebound, slower speed, a bit more pop to control it, and try to take some of the edge off the jumps ideally by turning the bars, turning the bike a little, leaning the body. If you are gonna go fast rebound, some of the worst things you could do is just go nice and straight over the jumps. That's when the momentum of the wheels is gonna kick over and take control. One thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about rebound is also your sag, the air pressure in the shock. Most people are going to recommend 30% sag for all around general riding, which is of course correct, but if you are jumping, I always recommend, especially specifically jumping, you're not doing tech trails or a long XC ride, chunky, whatever. If you're just jumping, up your sag to 25%, gives you a little bit more support, and you can potentially run a bit higher rebound, less consequence, less going through the travel, bottoming out, and then having fast rebound. Shock's going to be more supportive. If you do something wrong, it's not going to go down as much, and then when you adjust the rebound, not going to go up as much. We're in a weird way trying to imitate a hardtail essentially, and taking out the harshness of that full suspension. And once you get more skilled, more experience with jumping, then you can run normal sag if you wish, up the rebound, kind of makes it real fun and poppy and playful, but until then, might as well run 25% sag in either middle or all the way slow rebound. Jumps are running a bit slow today. I didn't really get a good pull on any of my lines, so I'm actually gonna put the rebound back to the middle, compensate for how mellow and worn down the jumps are, and see if we can actually get a good fast run, since the fast slow rebound nor the slow fast rebound felt good. So let's try to get a proper run through before we leave. They're just not very built up right now. I'm pulling hard on these lips and it's not really giving me anything. These are great jumps to learn on. Very low consequence, especially right now. If it rains and they get rebuilt a bit bigger, they're a bit more fun, but a bit more challenging in a way. So I hope some of this information helps you. This wasn't necessarily a jumping tutorial, more so it was a suspension tutorial, and then some information on what jumping technique you might use when you're doing fast suspension versus slow suspension. I might do some kind of jumping tutorial on a bigger jump with some of the guys, but this is just something I see all too often, and it's frustrating to see people getting hurt with such a basic settings adjustment to help them jump. Just take the rebound out. That's your first battle to win with jumping. After that, it's way easier to keep the bike under you, stay confident, and then you can do whatever you want. Case the jump, manual the jump, accidentally send it and go overshoot, but hey, with less rebound, it's not going to buck you off quite as easy. You can actually wrangle it back in, ride it out live to jump another day. No progress happens in the emergency room. Let's have a roll down the rest of the hill and see if I can get this corner. Not even close. That's faster rebound for you. Faster rebound plus backpack equals to the moon.